I hit record a drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm performing, never boring, now you can't afford it. Champagne Perrier, vintage friends on my face. Looking like I'm from the deep, these no Cartiers. Pockets deep, 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 bro. I can make it in my seat, bro. Do you, I'm doing me, bro. Making noise, use a peep, bro. Whoa, I press the button and the doors go off like, whoa. That money clip us now, the new now looks like, whoa. Upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like, whoa, 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 whoa. Neighborhood on the scene, neighborhood on the strip. Neighborhood be the name, neighborhood no crib. Neighborhood, that's me.
God, it smells like dirty dick in here. Murphy, you've been a bad boy. Oh my God, it's 9:10. Guys, can anybody drop me to class? I'm fucking late for my meeting. I'm supposed to be there 10 minutes ago. Did anybody do their chores today? Fuck, I'm just gonna do it. Oh shit, you guys, it's 8. Gotta go, Jake's calling. Oh, Jake's calling. Oh my God, I look horrid. Get out of here. You seriously gotta get out of here. You're fucking stinking this shit out. Hey guys, I know I talk about myself a lot, but like, what would you guys do in my situation? Santa, where are you going? Yeah, I gotta go pull you out of pale trouble already. Santa, do like a wine night? Like, let's just do a wine night.
Yo, is it okay if I have a party? Like just 3 or 4 people at most.
Name?
Xana.
Xana, do you live here?
Yes.
Megan Mogan?
Maddie Mogan, yeah.
Madison Mogan? Madison Mogan? Okay.
She is at the club. She's 21. I'm just going to bed. I have a couple friends over, but this is my ID.
Have you talked to Maddie tonight?
Yes, I have. Oh. She's at the corner club.
Okay.
I've just been here the past hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Madison Mogan? Yeah. Madison Mogan? Okay. She does live here.
So it's hard for me to give up, as a father, my protective ability to other men.
Community. There's going to be 10,000, 15,000 kids that come into this community next year, or they don't.
The documents, Gray doesn't believe he should have to follow the gag order.
Kohberger is
Bryan Kohberger.
From Pennsylvania, we actually don't have like crosswalks.
The fact that we're finding out that there's more than just my daughter and these children that have suffered, it's terrible to think that we can defund these guys. It's an absolute atrocity.
Sir, they have shared with us that it was a targeted attack.
Political. This is just facts, guys. We can't allow these people to just run free. So beyond that, they haven't shared a lot. We have some private detectives that have reached out to us and given us information. We take that with a grain of salt and we try to be careful. Just today, I reached out to the officers and said, hey, this guy's treated me with respect on the show. I'd like to share some things with him that I found out on my own, and they asked me to not do that. So we're holding our tongue, we're waiting patiently, but we're definitely concerned.
Yeah. So, sir, I had the opportunity to speak with those same law enforcement officials today and was able to get some information out from them as well. We want to do everything that we can do to get you answers.
Said this is your place, so I'm going to hold you responsible. Because it is your place, you're also responsible for everybody here.
true evil was genuinely watching them.
Said this is your place, so I'm going to hold you responsible. Because it is your place, you're also responsible for everybody here.
Bryan Kohberger I will never forget that name.
They both had a beautiful smile. They were both kind.
Our mutual love for country music is really what brought us together. We gravitate toward each other because we'd be singing these country songs. We really got along. Realized that he's like one big teddy bear.
They were both kind.
Kaylee that day, and how normal everything was, and the fact that we had no idea, she had no idea, I had no idea that true evil was genuinely watching them.
website.
Bryan Kohberger.
The maximum penalty for this offense, if you were to plead guilty or be found guilty, is death or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Lethal injection.
There's gonna be 10,000, 15,000 kids that come into this community next year, or they don't. Please don't be my child, that's the target.
Good morning, loungers. How are we? Happy Tuesday. I want to let everybody know, first off, over here is the topic for today. I'm organized today. And down below me is Bella Rose and the Stream Boss. And I have to reset the Stream Boss because Kevin was the Stream Boss in the last round, but I am going to restart that mofo. So it is reset. I am the boss. So if you want to kick me out, all you have to do is become a lounger, subscribe, or super chat. And I also have a Q&A over in the chat. If you have anything you want to talk about during this live that I've brought up, that way I don't have to scroll back through chat. Go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A or comments. If you want to say something important, don't just put any comment. I know Mema Mandy has a free pass to put whatever she wants because she's funny. So, Mandy, feel free to throw in a jab here and there into the Q&A. But everyone else, just put your questions or comments. And as we go through this, because I put a little compilation together of my theory to kind of go through and break it down. So, hello to everyone in chat. Hello, Potato and Shell and Angie B. Let me put you guys on live chat. And this is a reminder to put you on live chat. The nude colored square. It must be a Kim Kardashian thing. Just kidding. That was a dumb joke. Medicated Mama. Hey. SRB. Good morning. I see a lot of new names. Oh, and Eddie's here. Hello, Eddie. Jammers, Fem. Patrick, hey, thank you. Mary P, Britt. Who else do we have here? Danielle. All right. Olive Juice. Hello, Olive. And Obsessed. Obsessed, I don't know if you were here yesterday when I thanked you. I got your donation and I wanted to tell you thank you. And I don't know if you heard it or not. Mike Sanner, hey, you got another mod, guys. Watch your asses. Because the male moderator is in the house. Daisy and Melissa, hey. Melissa, thank you. You said the intros have been on fire lately. I'm glad you're liking them. There sure is a lot of content to unravel and put together, but I've had some thoughts, and let's go ahead and get into it. I put together this video, and then I've got some pictures as well. Let me make sure. No, not her. We're not talking about her today. Not her. Okay, let's just go ahead and start the video. First, I want to get your opinion before we get going. So, I'm my setup's always a little different, right? So as far as being a viewer, is the screen where I'm showing the video, which is Steve right now, is that big enough for a video? Or do you like the me smaller and the video bigger? I just want to know like perspective to, your screen, because mine is obviously like a control panel. So I have like a box and then I have other stuff. So I just want to know if that's like a big enough screen for a video or if it's too small. You guys think it's good the way it is? Okay, well let's go through this live and then we can reassess. Yeah, I didn't know how big you guys like to see, the podcaster versus the video. I mean, what's your guys' preference? Because I noticed some people are, their video cam is real big, and then they play like their stuff like in the back. John says, "Get rid of you altogether. Turn you off." It depends on the video. Mandy. Especially if hard of hearing, it helps to see you talking. Okay. I know, glasses. I need to get new ones. These aren't even good enough anymore. Oh, I know. Mandy's always goofing. Even with a headache, she's goofing. I'm fighting a headache too. It's allergies, you guys. They're bad. Aw, what kind of pup do you have, Heather? A lab? A lab mix? Look at her with her head up on that body pillow. She's so funny. Aw, that's sweet, Mandy. Incognito sugar. Sugar. Angie's like, I use my phone so I can't see shit either way. All right. Well, thanks for your input. I appreciate it. Aw. She's like a golden retriever mix of a bunch of stuff, I think. I don't know. Aw, thanks, Mike Sanner. He said artistic choice, so I appreciate yours to be however you want. But I want your viewing pleasure to be, nice, too. Thank you, Heather. I love doggies. What is that, Melissa B? Is that on your ear, like right here? Mary P, you crack me up. Pleasurable. Okay. Steve G, that's a picture of him yesterday. He did an interview with none other than Ashley Banfield yesterday after the hearing. And that was his face. And I was just like, wow, this is just really taking a toll on him. You can tell. Aw, Leslie, welcome back. Thank you for being here again. I'm gonna take that into consideration. Does it help with any kind of headache? Because I get like sinus headaches bad. Yeah, he looks concerned. He looks worn out. I didn't know that, Potato. You never told me that. Potato never gave me this piece of advice, Melissa B. Can you believe it? It's good to be home. It's good to be home. I've sat getting ready, putting this video together this morning, listening to the birds outside. We have like the best birds down here. I don't have anything on sometimes, and I just have the birds, Steven Seagal-ish. All right, so let's get rolling. Let's start our video, and we will pick it up from there.
She attracted attention, whether that's a dedicated person following her around, maybe not. I do believe that the officers looked in it, and I believe what they said, that there was no evidence.
Close enough that he was touching their Wi-Fi. His phone was touching their Wi-Fi. It's like 9-10 miles. I mean, I'd be shocked if these guys didn't cross each other in grocery stores and just everyday life. If he was over there for a year, I'm assuming that he followed them, and he may have figured out what their patterns are, and then he tries to bump into them, or he tries to hang out in those spots.
You don't think?
I mean, like, my girl's bullying him, or what kind of behavior could explain somebody being this brutal to another human being? I mean, he was probably obsessed with just their overall looks and their social media accounts, and the fact that they were close. It's that he was shocked that he had messed up so bad. He had read that, and I think he knew how damaging it was, and he wasn't going to be able to explain a lot of that stuff very easily. He could, I'm sure he thinks he can, but I seen a man who looked defeated, and
His body language looked like somebody in shock and dismay. So I think he knows how much he has to go against, and he's the reality of it setting in.
I know the girls reached out via texting and calling, so I can only assume that by the phones being ignored, knowing how my daughter is not going to ignore calls and texting.
TJ, that somebody at least knew the basic layout of the house. Think about how long it would take to go from victim to victim, so somebody had patience. The police have described a combat-type knife. So the person apparently went there to really do what they ended up doing. So once you've eliminated, and I assume this has happened, sort of the immediate circle, college students that are around these kids, people that may have threatened one of them, stalked them, whatever. I'm not hearing anything that supports a killer in that group. So what do you have to do if there's not an immediate connection? You have to go to sort of a wider circle. You would look at, for example, maybe or maybe not somebody older. I only suggest that because this crime appears to be very focused and the person had a comfort level in the house. This tells me that this was sort of driven by something you intrinsically wanted to do, less so than maybe one student mad at another student.
Last month, when Kaylee told friends she was followed by two men, police found no pattern of stalking.
She felt like either the threat went away, or did she tell police?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure she did not report it. The target really does bother me because no one can win in that kind of terminology. It just makes us all feel like, please don't be my child, that's the target.
Kaylee's mother has said she believes that the suspect, the killer, is someone Kaylee knew very well, and that the killer might even be at the vigil. Remarkable. I wonder, Steve, do you share that view?
It's speculation. My daughter was very popular. It seemed like everyone that I talked to said she knew everyone. They had parties. They were college kids. They were about to graduate. Yeah. So somebody could have partied in the house and got an idea or got the confidence to pull that off.
Steve, this question of a stalker, and I'm very conscious with this story of how many rumors have been circulating, and a lot of those rumors turn out to not be true. But Stephen, this discussion of the possibility she may have had a stalker, have police been able to stand that up, or not? They seem to be knocking that down.
Yeah, it seems to be knocked down. Obviously, any of that information would be new to us as well. Kaylee FaceTimed me. She didn't call or text. She FaceTimed me for literally hours, almost every single day. And she was extremely cautious. She was very vigilant. I think that she really would have noticed something and she would have said it to us. She wasn't, scared to get us involved in her life in any capacity.
Last month, when Kaylee told friends she was followed by two men, police found no pattern of stalking.
She felt like either the threat went away, or did she tell police?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure she did not report.
Like that.
I know you're frustrated with how much and how information, developments in the investigation are being shared with the public. Are they sharing anything with you that they're not sharing publicly in light of the fact that this was your sister, this was your daughter?
I'm not getting anything. They're not sharing much with me. I know that there's a separation in duties there. They do have the FBI now, so I don't know how much the individuals that I'm talking with, which are the local, are actually exercising their different jurisdictions. I think they might not know a lot because, they have briefings, and if they haven't had a briefing, they probably don't know exactly what's going on.
Are they contacting you at all? Or are they keeping you updated more than they are, say, on the website or with these press briefings?
To be honest, they're not. I mean, yesterday I asked about the stalker question and they couldn't confirm anything. And then today I hear that they're reaching out to the community saying that there's a stalker involved. So I don't know what to make of that.
It's a lot of.
Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
They're just so vague with everything that they say, and then they slowly peel it back layer until you find the real story. It all started with a sharp-edged weapon. What was the use in telling the community that a sharp-edged weapon was used instead of just coming out and telling us that it was a knife from the beginning? I don't understand the purposeness of being so vague. You're not holding the integrity of the case together by not telling anybody anything.
I understand you have frustrations for how police and investigators have handled the crime scene. What are those frustrations specifically?
Well, they expanded it, and there was volunteers that walked around, and they disclosed that they were looking and found different things. So, you know, they did share with me that that may have more to do with keeping cameras out than it actually does with evidence gathering. So I hope that that is indeed the case, because it would be pretty disheartening a week later to know that they didn't have the right crime scene.
One of the mother of one of the surviving roommates, so reminding our viewers, there were 2 roommates who were upstairs and survived this, told a reporter that those roommates heard something that night. Have you been told? Have you heard from sharing with other relatives of the other victims what that was exactly?
No, I would say for us that we did hear those rumors, but right now we can only leave it at that. None of that has ever been confirmed to us.
We have not spoke with the roommates.
Yeah.
The surviving roommates, and they were downstairs, just to clarify that for you, sir.
Okay, downstairs, right, on a different floor from where it appears where the murders took place.
Yikes.
One consistent thing, and granted there's been some changes, as you note, in how the police have described this. One consistent descriptor has been that the attack was targeted. Do you know if police believe one person in the house was the target of this attack, or all 4?
I've been told it's one, but then again, there's the vagueness. Like, it's like purposely vague, I'm hoping, but it confuses everyone.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows what that really means, other than maybe somebody had a different kind of attack footprint.
Yeah.
So, I feel like we just want some more. We all want to play a part in helping, and we can't play a part if we don't have any real substantial information to work from.
Yeah, I get it. You want to help. I mean, Olivia, you found video that has been helpful in this investigation. I'm sure you do want to help. Has anyone indicated to you that if it was indeed one person targeted, was Kaylee the target? Has anybody shared that with you?
They won't confirm who that was to us.
The police, that is.
We've heard the rumors that that's the case, but it's just a rumor at this point.
Tons and tons of rumors, but nothing from the police.
And I'll say I think a lot of those rumors do stem from all of the vagueness, and it's human nature to want answers. It's human nature to kind of put forth a theory so that you can even comprehend it in your brain. And so I think that's how we're getting all of some of these really, really off the wall theories, and some of these theories like Kaylee had a stalker, that even we're sitting here scratching our head saying, no, it couldn't be. If it was, it would be news to us.
I am sure it is frustrating. Your family has been very outspoken in support of Jack. He's Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. And on the Moscow police website, he is not listed, notably, as someone who has been cleared in the investigation. To your knowledge, is that significant?
Thank you, John.
I don't personally think so, because I think that there's the entire rest of the world that's also not on that list of people who have been cleared,
right?
Including Maddie's boyfriend, including any associates of Xana or Ethan that might not be involved. I don't find that significant at all.
And there were a number of phone calls to him that night, and you say that would have been typical behavior for Kaylee, that she often would call friends, folks.
Thank you, Melissa.
For a whole bunch of things.
At any time, multiple times, until I would pick up at 3 a.m. and be like, Kaylee, what?
And some of the last footage of her at that food court, she's on her phone 24/7 filming the whole thing. So she lived on that phone. So
welcome, Sudi.
It sounds like you're saying that the delays here in sharing information, the delays in, well, frankly, making more progress on the investigation, mean the police have lost their best opportunity, right? I think, Olivia, you were saying that those early hours and days are key. That's when you can make real progress. Do you believe that they've missed their best chance here, or may have?
not only is that's just not a matter of opinion, that's a matter of fact. If you look statistically at homicide cases, those first 10 days are so incredibly important in finding a suspect. They determine almost 9 out of 10 times, I believe it was, if you'll find a suspect. So yeah, that's not very encouraging to hear that they want to cast this wide net of suspects now, and people we know have no involvement.
Okay, so this is the end. I have some screenshots to talk about. So let me, before we start this over, because we're going to go through it and we're going to talk about these different points.
Just
and I'm
help
going
brother
to
out
talk
here.
about this theory that I have in my head. But let me see what questions you guys have so far or comments. Can you recall another case where the suspect in a crime of this nature was completely unknown to the victims and community? Actually, I didn't think so, but BTK, I found out yesterday, BTK, and thank you for all the memberships that are rolling in. BTK actually did not know his victims. He did not know them. They were strangers to him. Weird, huh? I did not realize that, but yeah. So I guess it happens. And I don't know any other killers off the top of my head, but yeah, I found that out yesterday. Mary P says, very organized, looking good. Thank you, Mary. Truth don't lie. Why do you think he stayed silent? Or is he trying to be like BTK? I really don't know. I really don't know. And I haven't had time to watch The Lawyer You Know, which I like watching him because he breaks it down and he doesn't take forever. It's not 6 hours. It's to the point. And I haven't had a chance to watch him to see what the different angles can be in that situation. So like if someone decides to, stand mute versus say not guilty, I mean, in my mind, I think like Ted Bundy did not know his victims at all. Randoms. In my mind, I think like, and this is a layperson, so in my mind, I think, okay, he didn't want to stand up and say not guilty out of his own mouth for some reason. And second of all, is he playing games, knowing that he's this criminologist and, he knows how to play games and he's big into technology too, which I think that whole Zoom thing probably put him on edge. I think if you go back and watch that hearing, you'll see those jaw muscles clenching a little bit more after the problem with the technology there. Because, I think Bryan thinks he's got to be the smartest. But I am more convinced now more than ever that they do have the right guy. I'm still open, but I'm getting more and more convinced the more that I come back down to earth from the tinfoil hat conspiracies. I feel like we've gotten way out of orbit on this case. I think that there is a huge drug problem in Moscow. Do I think this has anything to do with the 4 being murdered? Not so much anymore. And that could change. And I have the ability to change my mind just like you guys do. Because everything that comes out, we change our minds. We hear different things. We put different things together. And I don't think we can say for certain either way if it's him or it isn't him. And I think either way is very irresponsible. I know a lot of people say, well, he's innocent until proven guilty. But that doesn't mean you have to go around and say he's innocent. I mean, he's where he is for a reason. There's things that put him there. Whether or not there's other involved, I don't know about that. But there's a reason that Bryan Kohberger is where he is. And he's not there because he's a patsy. I just really don't believe that. I think that's out there thinking, and I think we need to come a little bit back down to earth. And I'm not saying that there weren't drugs sold in that house at one point in time. I don't disagree with that. I think it very well could be. But do I think Bryan went in that house because of drugs? No. Mm-mm. No, I do not. I do not think that Bryan Kohberger went in there, excuse me, that night because of drugs. I think that he's sick-minded. I think that he's a game player. I think he's manipulative. And I think one of these people caught his attention. And I think that I have a different theory, which we're going to get into. But I think that that could be Maddie and Kaylee together. I think that could be Maddie and Kaylee together. Now, you guys have all these things. You know, your memories are better than mine. What I need to know right now, and I need to write this down, if anybody knows, what time did Bryan Kohberger's car leave Pullman on the 13th? What time did he leave Pullman on the 13th? Before we get into this, if anybody knows, let me know. But I just want to kind of come back down to earth because yesterday's hearing kind of brought me back down to earth. And I just, I'm kind of like, I got to the point with Chris Watts. Why are we so adamant that he couldn't have done this? Why are we so adamant that there has to be a conspiracy that framed him? No, he was a fucking jerk who killed his wife. And there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for it. And I fell into that hole back then of Shanann may have done what he said she did. And I don't believe that now. And it's okay to feel differently after you educate yourself and years have gone by and you've watched different cases and how they unfold and how the investigation process goes. And you have to use your common sense. So which one was it? 247? Did he leave Pullman? See, no one knows. Yeah, and it is hard to imagine someone doing such a thing. Crazy. It's hard to imagine someone killing their own child. But we hear about it. Look at Leilani Simon. Leilani Simon. It's unimaginable. He ended up in a landfill. Why did John Wayne Gacy ask? Has anyone else been arrested? Maybe because he's a mind fucker. I mean, obviously, if Brian's going to use the lines of other killers, he's not that clever, right? At least John Wayne Gacy had an original line. It's kind of stupid when you think about it. He's not really as brilliant as everyone wants to paint him to be. He shut his phone off at 2:47. Thank you. What about before that? Is there any pings before that? Do we know his whereabouts before 2:47? And that was when he was on Indian Hills Drive. Yep. By the cop shop. Absolutely. And isn't it weird? He was at 2:47 a.m. He was watching the cop shop while they were down busting kids for drinking about 10 minutes later. Nothing prior to 2:42 then? We don't know if he was in Moscow earlier that evening? That's still up in the air? That's what I want to know. I just want to know if he was in Moscow earlier that evening or if we don't know. No, Anita Backrub, we do not know for sure that he even said that. Right. We're clinging on to things that aren't even solidified as facts. And we got to be careful. We got to use our common sense. We do not know. Damn it. Okay. Okay. But that furthers my theory then. That's good though for my theory.
It's inappropriate.
I agree.
So we don't know his whereabouts prior to the grub truck. Okay. Now put this together. This just kind of dawned on me. Camera saw Elantra at 2:53. When did the calls stop to Jack? What time was the last call to Jack? We don't know what he did that day. There's a reason for that. The shit we don't know is where the facts are, okay? This is what we have to do. We have to decipher, because the shit we don't know is where the facts are. What we know is a bunch of jumbled bullshit, right? 2:52. So at the same time he pings in Moscow, they stop calling Jack. No chains, no more. I'm not doubting that you've studied this case, but we all have differing opinions because we don't have all the facts. We don't have them. So you can't make a definitive decision until you have all the facts. 2:57. Interesting. So 5 minutes after he was seen, where was he seen at 2:53? In Pullman or Moscow? Let's get some facts up in here. No question marks, no issues. Let's get some facts up in here. What time was he seen last and where at 2:53? Mm. 2:44. Thank you. Awesome, Mary. Thank you. 2:44 a.m. Now put on your thinking caps, right? Elantra in Moscow. Does it say where? You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me, Disneyland. Page 7. Thank you. Page 7, PCA. All right. So 2:44 a.m. the Elantra is seen on Nevada Street. Thank you. God, you guys are awesome. See? This is what it takes. Nevada Street. Because the shit we don't know is where the shit lies, right? The meat and potatoes of this, what they've got on him, we have no idea. They didn't let out any of the good stuff, I don't think. I don't think they let out any of the good stuff. 2:44. Thank you, Maiden. Thank you, Eddie. Okay, so 2:44 a.m. Now think about this. His Elantra is seen on Nevada Street in Moscow. The calls to Jack stop at what time? 2:50. What time? The calls start and end to Jack at what times? Because we need to get this down. I'm on to something right now. Sorry if I can't read chat. If I do, I lose my train of thought. It happens really fast, too. Okay. Let me get this up. So let me know what time the calls started and ended to Jack. Okay, potato. 2:26. 2:26. First call. 6 calls. Wow. 2:26 to 2:44. And then 2:44 to 2:52. 2:44 to 2:52 is Maddie. Makes 3. 3 calls. And then Kaylee calls once more at 2:52. Wow. Okay. Now, one thing that I just want to point out that I think is odd, and I'm not trying to be an ass, but usually when these things happen, isn't it like they look at like domestic first? And we know that Kaylee and her boyfriend recently broke up. And I don't know how deep they looked into him, but it seemed like Kaylee's family felt bad for him because he probably went through a lot of scrutiny with the cops and stuff. I'm just guessing. I don't know that. I'm just guessing. Let me see if this works. Hold on. Look, I got a little drawler. Check this out. So let's erase. We're going to put up here the Elantra scene at 2:44. Okay. a.m. And then Kaylee makes her last call. 2:52. Excuse my writing. All right. Look at that timing. Think about that for a second. He's right around there as they're calling Jack. Did they think something was going to happen prior to that? Like, what was... I know her sister said, oh, she'll call over and over and over, but this is different. This is different. This is Kaylee 6 times, Maddie 3 times, and then Kaylee again, and then nothing. Okay? And with that being said, let's look at this for a second. With that being said, have you guys seen this photo? This photo right here was taken by somebody's phone. And this, I know you guys are like, oh, Reddit, whatever. And I've said it too. But this was posted before we even knew anything. This was posted way before we even knew who Bryan Kohberger was. And this was taken on somebody's phone November 13th at 3:10 a.m. I couldn't read that. Sorry. I'm blind as a bat. This was taken on someone's phone in Moscow at 3:10 a.m. on the 13th. The last call is at 2:52 a.m. This picture is taken at 3:10. A movie? Then how did someone get Moscow? I don't think this is from a movie. What movie? Show me this. Show me what movie it's from. Because we did a side-by-side of their doors. And the hinges and the doorknobs match. I don't think it's fake. That's my opinion. I don't think it's fake. And Shadow Dancer, he wasn't just arrested because of the DNA. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. And we have to remember, too, as far as the roommates go, you heard Steve G in the video I played, and we're going to play through it again. But he says, I know the girls reached out to my daughter, and she didn't answer her phone, and they knew something was wrong. And they knew something was wrong because she didn't answer. That's what he said. He said, I have no reason to believe there's more than one bad guy here. What movie is it from? I'm waiting. If you found it, no, I want to know because I want to rule it out if I can. I don't want to argue. I want to be able to rule it out. He knows a lot more than we do. And I think that there's times where, because, he went through phases. Steve went through phases where he was like, this is someone, they're not giving us information and make me be the alpha and all this. And then he would backpedal, I think, because they would feed him a little bit and then he'd be satisfied for a minute. And then when they wouldn't give him any more, then he would get frustrated again. I think he went through these phases and these ups and downs with law enforcement and with himself and with, struggling for this. So we'll get to that, Mike C. We'll get to that. So let's start this over and let's see what other photos I have here, if it goes along with that. Here's another thing. I tried to find, well, when you look at that picture, keep in mind, Bryan Kohberger allegedly installed cameras in someone's home. They say it's someone in Pullman. Not sure if I believe that. Not sure I believe that. This picture here is the only one I could find of that morning. This is the earliest picture. This is from the Argonaut, I believe, or the Evergreen. And this is the earliest picture. I mean, the cops still have their lights on. See, their lights are still on. And it looks like Jack D walking up to the house. And then I had another thought about the surveillance. Okay. So anyways, let's keep going. Just keep all of this at all, it's all pieces. We have to take it in pieces. All right, so let me get rid of that. That is from the morning of. Now, check this out. This is the only account that we can find because it seems like there was a picture out of students wrapped in blankets, upset outside the house. Remember, all of us were like, oh my God, where's the pictures from that morning? Like, where was everybody? It's been scrubbed. So this is two neighbors, Luca Music and Decker Rylange, live in an apartment building next to the residence where the 4 students were found. They were cleaning their apartment Sunday when a friend messaged Rylange and told them about the reported homicide. Music and Rylange looked out the window and saw police cars along with a group of women crying while draped in emergency blankets. That's straight from an article. That's like the only first account stuff I could find. Thank you, Patrick. It might be a bumpy ride, but we'll do it all together, right? Okay. So I found that interesting that the neighbors saw a group of women crying and draped in emergency blankets. Because we've never really heard that scene described. Probably for privacy, John. Probably for privacy. So let's see here. I mean, if those were your kids, would you want that picture out? I wouldn't. I'd do my damnedest to get my kids off there because they just went through this. So I can see that. I think the scream is real. I think it was ruled out because it was leaked. And out of sensitivity to the victims, they didn't want everybody to think to know that was real and for it to get spread around and, da-da-da-da-da. Don't you think? They're going to lie to us. And they can. And it's okay. Because if that really was Ethan and Xana being killed, we really don't need to hear that. That needs to be saved for trial, right? That needs to be saved for trial. That's not for us. That's not our fucking business. Hearing that murder is not our fucking business. And the fact that it got out there, I would back it up if I was law enforcement too and say, no, that's not real. You think they're really going to come out and say, yeah, that's Ethan dying? I mean, be sensitive. You got to be sensitive to these victims, guys. These are real people. Real people. The OD rumor came from the drug problem out there. Just because there's a drug problem doesn't mean this is associated with drugs. Just because there's a guy who couldn't handle rejection in this town and killed people who got in his way and rejected him doesn't mean that it's drug related. Just because there's people ODing on drugs, there's people ODing on drugs here in Tampa, but they're not responsible for the murders here. You know what I'm saying? But we don't need to hear Ethan dying. So when that was leaked, A, fucking irresponsible, B, sick, and D, whatever, they should retract on that. They should not tell us, yes, that's Ethan. They should not confirm that. I mean, do you really think law enforcement is going to go, yeah, we'd like to confirm that the audio that was leaked was real. That is not faked. Come on. They're not going to fucking say that. And if Bryan Kohberger installed a security camera in 1122 King Road, we're not going to know that either. Because they might just say it was someone in Pullman. You got to remember, and they're going to lie more and more and more because y'all not y'all, but we all get crazy. So they're going to have to lie more. So if we responsibly report this, if we responsibly talk about this case and remember the victims, If he didn't do it, let the jury decide that. Right? Right? We can speculate. We can say we don't think he did it. We can say we do think he did it. We're not the jury. Who's the boss right now? John! Someone knock John out of there. He's crying. He can't be a boss when he's crying. I'm just kidding. Maiden Nut says, Jay, he was not rejected by anybody. That is a rumor. We can't build that up as a fact. I think I can speculate to that. I think that there's enough proof to say that he was socially awkward. And I think that based on common sense, looking at Kaylee and Maddie and looking at him, those girls were way out of his league. Way out of his league. None of those girls would have ever given him the time of day. He was weird. He was awkward. He was argumentative. We know these things to be fact. We saw it in a body cam. The guy's a creep. And I can't shake the vibe. He's creepy. Whether he did it or not, he's still a creepy guy. And he would have never been able to land one of those chicks, ever. But now he's in jail and he's got girls that are in love with him and shit. So, let's go back through our video. Sorry, this is long, but it takes a minute to explain everything in the way so you guys understand. I'm trying the best I can. It's hard. It's hard sometimes. All right, so let's get back to this. He is weird and argumentative. I agree. And it's just not okay. You know what I'm saying? It's just not okay. Because those behaviors and we heard, how can you ignore though? What I want to know, Eddie, is why you choose to ignore reports of, the brewery in Pennsylvania. What motive? What motive did that brewery have to come out and lie and say, oh, Bryan Kohberger came in here and creeped out our waitresses? Where's their motive to lie about that? I believe that. I think that he was creepy, and I don't think girls dug him. And look at the girl that was friends with him. He was socially awkward. He wasn't a charmer. Ted Bundy was a charmer. He was no Ted Bundy. He could have met her at a coffee shop, but I think she worked at the coffee shop in Coeur d'Alene. I don't think she worked in Moscow. There's a picture of her in front of the one in Coeur d'Alene with the date with the sunflower. No, I'm not saying it from one video. So I'm saying it based on people who were in class with him, students that had him as a teacher, neighbors who talked to him. Who else? The body cam. It all adds up. Everything we heard about him being have to be right. We saw it all in the body cam. It played out. Oh, well, where I'm from in Pennsylvania, we don't have crosswalks. Do you know what I'm saying? All right, so let's go through this. Yes, there are new court docs, but that's not what we're doing right now. Right now, what we're doing is we're talking about a new theory, and we're coming back down from Mars, and we're coming back down from the Mexican cartels and going to Colombia to solve this case, because that's not where you're going to solve this case. This case has nothing to do with cartels. And that's my opinion. And I think that Bryan Kohberger was creepy. I think that he creeped out the girls. I think he had contact with at least one of them. And I think he got off on the fact that Kaylee and Maddie were so close. That's what I think. That's what I think. All right, so here we go. Let's go through this step by step.
She attracted attention, whether that's a dedicated person following her around, maybe not. I do believe that the officers looked in it, and I believe what they said, that there was no evidence.
Close enough that he...
Okay. You have him saying someone followed her. He's confirming here that he knew someone followed her.
He was touching their Wi-Fi. His phone was touching their Wi-Fi. It's like 9-10 miles. I mean, I'd be shocked if these guys did cross each other in grocery stores. And
so this part, I feel like he's kind of giving partial truth. Like he can't say everything. Like you have to be careful when you're Steve, because the things they're telling him, he can't say them all. But I think he was saying too much that was putting, clues out there. And I think that's why they cut him off.
Just everyday life. He was over there for a year. He
was over there for a year. He was over there for a year. We have proof that Kaylee moved into that house in 2021. Per Zillow, she was living there in 2021. He was living over there in 2020, or she was living in 1122 King Road in 2021. And Steve G says he was over there a year. He knows more than we do.
Grocery stores and just everyday life. He was over there for a year. I'm assuming that he followed them, and he may have figured out what their patterns are, and then, he tries to bump into them, or he tries to hang out in those spots.
You don't think...
Okay, let's talk about that. Going back to his whereabouts prior to the Elantra being seen at 2:44 a.m. Okay? 2:44 a.m. What happened before that? Where was Bryan? They're not telling us. Do you want to know why? Because if they told us, we'd be figuring this shit out. Because more than likely, he was at the corner club trying to bump into them, or at the grub truck trying to bump into them. He was in that town. He was in that town because at 2:44, he's sitting there behind the Moscow PD. So my question is, did Bryan make a call saying there was kids drinking? I think Bryan was behind the noise complaints as well. I definitely think he was behind the noise complaints, and I think he did different routes. I think he took the bike path from Moscow to Pullman all the time with his bike, or running. He did that in Pennsylvania, 7 miles. 7 miles on the trail where he parked his car and had to call 911 at 4 a.m. to get out because he was locked in. How long was his car in there to get locked in? What the fuck was this guy doing in Pennsylvania? I think that there's going to be more that comes out in Pennsylvania. Mark my words. I think there is unsolved stuff, and I don't think they're going to come out and say, yes, we're looking into that. I don't think they're going to tell anything. Corner club pic. Yeah, I think he's in that picture. I think he's sitting on a stool. I think he was at the corner club, and I think that something happened. Either he was made fun of, he was rejected, something happened there. And that was the catalyst. Because didn't he drive back? You guys, he was in Moscow and then he drove back to Pullman and then came back. I know I'm not remembering that wrong. Didn't he drive from Moscow to Pullman and then come back to Moscow? This needs to be looked at with a fine-tooth comb. I think he was at the corner club. I think something happened at the corner club, and he went to Pullman to get his shit, his knife, whatever the hell he needed to do what he did. He went back to Pullman to get it, and then he came back to Moscow. So did something happen there? Was Kaylee threatened? And that's why that guy walked them. God, I've got just dust everywhere. Is that why they were walked? Of course the corner club's going to say that. It's the same thing as the cops. Do you think the corner club is going to say, do you think the owner of the corner club wants the last interaction between two dead females, college students, and a patron of theirs? Do you think that the corner club wants that as their legacy? That this interaction took place at their establishment? Do you think the corner club guy is going to come out and go, yes, they were in our bar that night and there was an altercation. You know, he was a problem. He's been coming in, harassing the girls. Da, da. They're not going to do that. But a bar in PA did. They don't want that to know. No, then they're going to get looky-loos coming in there asking questions. So what happened that night? So can you give us... Then they're going to be tracking down their servers to see if they can find out exactly what happened that night. Right. I mean, the Mad Greek doesn't want that shit either. They don't want their employees harassed because let's face it, YouTubers would look up their names and see who works at the corner club, and they would call them and harass them and try to get info from them and lie to them and pretend to be their friends and pay them money and all kinds of shit show. That's why they're saying they weren't here. Leave us alone. They weren't here. We're trying to keep our business running. Because like Steve said, there's 10 to 15,000 kids that could come back here or not. Everybody had a stake in this. Every business owner in that town had a stake in this once this murder happened. And everybody is out for self-preservation.
Like my girl's bullying him, or what kind of behavior could explain somebody being this brutal to another human being?
Were my girls bullying him? Is there a little truth in that? Was there something that happened at the corner club that does not explain this? Like he said, nothing can explain someone being that angry, right? Or was Bryan sitting there watching the grub truck? That's another avenue. Was he the V? Let's start this old thing up. What did that mean? Start what old thing up? Yeah, of course he was already stalking them. This was the catalyst, which means it sent him over the edge. And I'm going to tell you a little story about people like him. And he reminds me a lot of this man. My friend's 14-year-old daughter was walking on a bike trail in a small town of about 3,000 people, 14 years old, 6 o'clock in the evening on a Saturday. And she was approached by a 36-year-old man who was interested in her. She's 14. She blew him off. She was like, gross. She texted her boyfriend, oh my God, I think this guy almost kidnapped me. She was creeped out. And he kept approaching her. We could see it on their cell phone pings. He was tailing her on this bike path. And she rejected him and rejected him and rejected him. And you know what he did? He acted like he went away. And he backed off. And then he came around a curve. Like when she went around a curve on this bike trail, it was one of those like Bryan went on with the railroad tracks, trees on either side. And if you go around a curve, you can't see. So he came around that curve and he had taken his helmet off and he came up behind her and he hit her in the head with his helmet and he killed her. He beat her to death in the woods. He drug her in the woods. He tried to molest her. He got spooked by someone on the trail and he stomped on her neck, and they identified him by his shoe print on her neck. And it was because of the rejection. He was rejected. People who aren't right in the head, it takes one little thing to just make them snap, man. And he had a girlfriend at home. He had a kid. He had a kid with a girlfriend, and he still did this. So people snap. People are not right in the head. And his demeanor seems a lot of the same. Very immature, very pussy-ish. I don't know, man. It's just, it rings a lot of because of the rejection thing.
I mean, he was probably obsessed with just their overall looks and their social media accounts and the fact that they were close.
And the fact that they were close. We've all seen the girls pose together on Instagram. Very intimate poses. Very intimate poses that would turn a man on, right? Make a man's imagination go wild. That's why we have to tell our girls to be fucking careful what they put online. Because what you put online can be seen by the whole world, not just your friends. Not just your friends. Sickos like this who can't get any play, who go to social media because they can't get any play, and they have this connection via social media that feels real to them. Tell your daughters not to post shit like this. It's just bad news. Very intimate poses that can make a sicko's mind so much that he may have moved out there because of this. We don't know that yet. He may have went so far as to move out that way because they caught his attention. I just don't think, Annie, that we can take everything Papa Roger said as fact. I think we have to decipher it all, take it with a grain of salt, look at what we know from everybody and add it all in there, put it all on an even scale. We can't take Papa Roger over Steve G. We have to take it all in, and then we have to try to piece it together and get a little bit of truth out of each thing, because there's truth out there. It's just the things that aren't known. The time frame of BK, what did he do before he did this?
Dude.
Hey, Frank Edwards, thank you for subscribing. So, what did he do before what we know about? I think he was at the Corner Club. And I'm going to find that picture because someone asked me to pull it up. I mean... And it's interesting that Jack was also at the Corner Club and then they called him. Like they had just seen him, right? Here's that photo. Now, I do not think that Kohberger is sitting on the stool behind Jack. I don't think that's him. I mean, it could be. I don't know. I kind of thought this guy right here was him. He's got the mask on his chin. Fight me. Fight me otherwise. Or are you talking by the door here? You talking about this? Is this him? Is that what you're talking about, or is that Adam? Because Adam has curly hair as well. And Adam was the bartender. So if Adam's the bartender, why is he sitting by the door? What do you guys think? Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes. Look at the eye sockets and the eyebrows. Look how deep the eye sockets are. That's what I notice about BK, is that those eyes. I think it looks like him too. And look who's in all black. Get the fuck out of here. Come on now, guys. It's a screen. Okay, the reason why the nose looks small, see the pixels? See all these pixels? Pixels. These are all pixels. And because it's a screen grab, right? It's a screenshot of a video. It's a surveillance video screenshot. Because they have, as one divided we fall, because LE has to keep something to themselves that only the perp knows. If everybody knew he was stalking them, Maybe that's the only thing they have that only the perp knows. They have to keep those things close to the chest. Oh, I think it's him. Fight me. I think it's him. And look who's in all black. I don't know who released that pic, but that's Bryan Christopher Kohberger. I can tell right by the eyes. That's what gives him away, are his eye sockets. He's got such heavy, deep set eyes that you can't, like, most people don't have that. Most people don't have that. And if Adam's the bartender, he wouldn't be sitting by the door. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense that that's anybody but Bryan Christopher Kohberger. So, if you look here, wait, shit, never mind. No, he's not checking IDs. This place is closing. This is at the end of the night, remember? He's not checking. This isn't in the heat of the night. This is at the end of the night. This is at the end of the night. 11:13, 1:32 p.m. But I think this, or a.m. I think it was a little bit off, but close. This is the end of the night. Bars close 15 minutes. Remember bar time? For all of us old folks, bar time is 15 minutes off, right? And I think there was a problem. And I think this guy in the hat was talking to this about this and saying, you know, there's a problem with this dude. I don't know what they told him, but they're talking to Jack about it, I believe. And I believe after this incident, whatever the fuck happened there, Bryan Christopher Kohberger went back to Pullman, got his shit, got his knife, whatever he took. Because it looks to me like this man just came in this back door. I don't know who he is, if he's the owner. I don't know who that is. There's speculation over who that guy is. I don't know. I don't really care. I care that that's Bryan Christopher Kohberger sitting about 10 feet away from the two people that ended up dead an hour later. And that's why Hoodie Guy stuck with them. Mm-hmm. And Hoodie Guy could be Adam. I don't know who the hell it is. I don't know who these people are. Y'all say it's Jack and John and Showalter and all these people. We don't know these people. No, we don't know where he was prior to 2:44 a.m. Look at his stare. Oh my gosh, you guys are so hard to convince. But I'm going to try my damnedest here. Oh, let's try this. Oh, let me find one. I'm going to prove to y'all that is Bryan. Because it's gonna irritate me. Okay, here's one. Here, let's put this up here. Oh, look, his nose doesn't look all that big in that picture either. But look at the freaking eyes. Look at the eyes. Look at the hairline. Come on now. Come on. BK ain't that old. He's only 28 years old, yo. He ain't old. He's a kid. He looks like a little kid sitting there in that courtroom. Hold on. I've got more photos. I just have to go through them. Here we go. There you go. There's another one. There's that intense stare. There's those eyes. Fucking identical right there. Those eyeballs. There we go. There's Bryan Kohberger. It's him. Fight me. It's a Kohberger with a side of cheap fries. You guys can, if you don't believe it, that's fine. That's your opinion. It's my opinion. It's him. He was there. He was being a creepazoid. Oh, I'll show you a picture of Adam. He has curly hair, but that isn't him. All right, here is Adam. Hold on. All right, this is Adam right here. Adam. This is Adam. That's not Adam. I'm sorry. It's not freaking Adam. Adam's probably on the stool behind Jack D here. That's probably Adam in the white hoodie or something. That's not Adam. And that's not a leather jacket. It's like a North Face or something. Let's say it's him. Then wouldn't that prove he didn't do the crime? Because now it's not his car seen in Pullman at 244, right? Yeah, it's his car. I'm wondering where he was before 244. I'm not worried about 244 right now. I'm worried about where was Bryan Christopher Kohberger at 1:32 a.m. on the 13th. Remember, he had a haircut, guys. His sideburns are longer in jail because he's not getting regular haircuts. He just had his haircut. This is not Adam in the stool. I'm telling you. That is not freaking Adam. That's not Adam. Adam has shaggy hair. Bryan puts like gel in his curls. Because that's all they released was one still. Because we don't deserve anymore. We don't know exactly when he got his hair cut. Do you think they're going to tell us the exact day? We don't know. I think it's Kohberger. Jet Set, I've seen you say that like 50 times. I get it. They're Portuguese. Okay. So anyways, I'm going to move on because we can all agree to disagree. I think that's Bryan sitting in the stool at the corner club. So I think he was at the corner club. I think something happened that set him off. I think he then drove back to Pullman and got prepared to do the crime. And then he went back to Moscow. His phone was on. How do you know that, Vicky? How do you know? We don't know. We have nothing. We have nothing to go off of where he was before 2:44 a.m. We have absolutely nothing. So I want to know where he was at 1:32 a.m. or around that time. Because this scene means something. There's a reason that this scene was released. Here, you guys can see this is this whole screenshot right here. And I don't know if they're matching jackets. Those people have, a lot of people have those black North Faces. But this person up here in the black coat that you guys are talking about has a goatee. See it on his chin? He's got like a goatee on his chin. And I don't think Bryan Christopher Kohberger pegs his jeans like that, does he? Do we know? Because Jack and that other guy pegged their jeans. It was released to show more than the girls there. But they're not going to say that. They're not going to tell us, hey, we're releasing this picture and Bryan Kohberger's in it. No, they're going to say, oh, here's a video of the girls. There's more to this, you guys. They have so much more. I don't know what's on his hat. I can't tell. It's too blurry. I mean, this is security footage. So it's pixelated, you know? It's blown up. It's a screenshot of action, of them in action. And that's why it's blurry. It looks like glasses on. Is there glasses on the brim? See how pixelated it is? You can't make it out. Mandy. No, I'm telling you, there's more to this story. This guy is not being framed for a drug cartel. It's way more logical than that. And we just don't know it all. I mean, this is the night they get murdered. We have Bryan Kohberger sitting in the corner club dressed in all black. And you guys want to believe that he's part of a cartel or he's being set up as a patsy. I just don't understand. Oh, shoot. Yeah. The frat boys all peg their jeans. They're tight at the ankles, see? They're pegged. We used to do that in the 80s. Hoodie guy doesn't have his pegged. Oh, wait. Is that... Hang on. He's got something in his hand, too. Is it his keys, maybe? And look at his shoes. What shoes is he wearing? New Balance? I mean, they look like white shoes with a bigger sole. I don't know. But it looks like dad's shoes. It does. It does. I think he changed into a pair of Vans, and I think he bought them at Marshall's. This is my shiz. He bought a pair of shoes, Vans, because all these frat boys wear Vans. Bryan's not a frat boy. Bryan doesn't dress like a frat boy. Bryan dresses like a little nerd. He wears polo shirts. We've seen pictures of him. He's not hip. Vine alert. For what? The next hearing? Hold up. Hold up. Let me check. Ooh, the trial is put in 10/26 at 8:30 a.m. October 26th at 8:30 a.m. It might be Ellie. They might have called the cops on his ass. That might have been what triggered him. The cops might have told him to leave. We don't know. Yeah, I got one event. Or no, I'm sorry. I've got, a lot. Hold on. 11/2, 11/1, 6/9, and 10/26. 20? I didn't get 20 yet. Maybe they're still coming. Oh, they are. They're still coming. No, I don't see October 2nd. October 26th. 6/9. We'll take a look at the court records in just a little bit. BK smokes pot. And nobody smokes in bars. There's no smoking allowed. So, now how do you know Adam smokes? How do you know Adam smokes? We know BK smokes pot. He had it at his house, in his parents' house. Here, yeah, they're still coming. 11, 7, 10, 13. 11, 8. I think he bought a pair of Vans because he knew. It's just like that one crime where the guy put on the victim's shoes. Or he put on the victim's shoes. One of the two. I want to know if Ethan had shoes on. Yeah, we do know he smokes pot. He had pot in his possession when he was arrested. You don't have pot in your possession unless you smoke pot. Coming from a pot smoker. I would never have pot unless I smoke it. I don't know why you're ignoring facts, right? We know he had pot. So why do you want to say we don't know if he smokes pot? We know he had pot when he was arrested. 10:30, 10:19, 11:06, 10:11, 11:08, 10:13. These are all the dates coming through. All right, let's continue. Right, it's not like he was holding. What do you think green stuff in a bag is going to be? Green crayons? We've got to be logical. It's pot. When's your due date, Brookie? My daughter's birthday is 10/10. Oh my God, you're kidding, Heather.
It's a huge shock that he had messed up so bad. You know, he had read that, and I think he knew how damaging it was, and he wasn't going to be able to explain a lot of that stuff very easily. He could, you know, I'm sure he thinks he can, but I seen a man who looked defeated, and his body language looked like somebody in shock and dismay. So I think he knows how much he has to go against, and he's the reality of it setting in.
I know the girls reached out via texting and calling, so I can only assume that by the phones being ignored, knowing how my daughter is not going to ignore calls and texting.
TJ, that somebody at least knew the basic layout of the house. Think about how long it would take to go from victim to victim, so somebody had patience. The police have described a combat-type knife. So the person apparently went there to really do what they ended up doing.
You got to listen to this guy. He had to have been in that house because he would not have been able to go in that quickly. He knew. So how do we know that BK isn't the one that had some kind of contact with one of the girls and installed some kind of camera and used it to watch them? And this was some kind of a leak. You know what I'm saying? Cherie, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Cherie.
So once you've eliminated, I assume this has happened, sort of the immediate circle, college students that are around these kids.
And that's why it said no signal, because he turned the shit off. I'm telling you. He tried to cover his tracks.
People that may have threatened one of them, stalked them, whatever. I'm not hearing anything that supports a killer in that group. So what do you have to do if there's not an immediate connection? You have to go to sort of a wider circle. You would look at, for example, maybe or maybe not somebody older. I only suggest that because this crime appears to be very focused and the person had a comfort level in the house. This tells me that this was sort of driven by something you intrinsically wanted to do, less so than maybe one student mad at another student.
Last month, when Kaylee told friends she was followed by 2 men, police found no pattern of stalking.
She felt like either the threat went away, or did she tell police?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure she did not report it. The target really.
See, she didn't report it. And I feel like had she reported it and not went with maybe BK putting something in the house, it wasn't the police. It wasn't the police. I don't think it was the police at all. I'm not saying these people are not strange and there's not a problem within the police department, but I don't think that they have anything to do with the murder. I think they're just kind of corrupt. Shit gets swept under the rug because they're a small department and no one's ever been watching them. Remember the TV screen? No signal? Who made it no signal? Had to be the killer, right? Had to be the killer that made it no signal. And then we got Steve G. He touched their Wi-Fi. Check this out. Look at this really fast. We're all over the place because I'm trying to piece things together that are all over the place. What does it mean to touch Wi-Fi? Does it mean when you hit the WPS button? Oops, I didn't mean to hit that. Is it pushing that button to connect to it? I don't know. But he mentioned it. It means something. He wouldn't mention it if it didn't mean anything. If Steve G didn't think that Bryan Kohberger touched their Wi-Fi, he wouldn't say that. Right? Yeah, I don't know about, but I don't know what he means exactly by touching. I mean, that can be taken up for interpretation, but it means that his phone either got it, like I showed you yesterday, that you're near it and it picks it up, or he was actually connected to it at one point or another. There's just more to this. There's more to the stuff that we don't know. We're focusing too much on the shit we know.
Just help a brother out here.
And it doesn't make sense because there's too much that we don't know. And we have to look at the timeline that isn't accounted for. Because when we look at the timeline that isn't accounted for, we have to put them somewhere, right? Yeah, if you get close enough, it picks up your neighbors, or if you go to a store, it'll pick it up. Now, hear me out. Check this information out, right? If you go, like when I went to the Flint airport, my phone has connected to the Flint airport in the past. So when I walked in and up to my gate, my phone automatically connected to the Flint airport Wi-Fi. So if he was ever there and at a party and pushed that button and got on their Wi-Fi, it would be saved in his phone. So whenever he got close to the house, he would be able to connect to that Wi-Fi again without going inside. Yes, and there were systems fucked with at the colleges. He was testing these. This is his mind. And I wouldn't be surprised if that whole whoopsie yesterday wasn't on purpose to just make him nervous, to be honest with you.
It does bother me because no one can win in that kind of terminology. It just makes us all feel like, please don't be my child. That's the target.
Kaylee's mother has said she believes that the suspect, the killer, is someone Kaylee knew very well, and that the killer might even be at the vigil. Remarkable. I wonder, Steve, do you share that view?
It's speculation. My daughter was very popular.
Look at her sister. It's not all what they say. When he's answering that question, look at Olivia.
It's speculation. My daughter was very popular.
Yes, she's agreeing. This is someone I'm agreeing with my mom.
Remarkable. I wonder, Steve, do you share that view?
It's speculation. My daughter was very popular. It seemed like everyone that I talked to said
brother even agrees. They're all in agreement, but they don't want to say too much because law enforcement told them not to. Listen to this part again.
He believes that the suspect, the killer, is someone Kaylee knew very well, and that the killer might even be at the vigil. Remarkable. I wonder, Steve, do you share that view?
It's speculation. My daughter was very popular. It seemed like everyone that I talked to said she knew everyone. They had parties. They were college kids. They were about to graduate. Yeah. So somebody could have partied in the house and got an idea or got the confidence.
See that? They're confirming this motherfucker was in the house, guys, but they can't say it. They're not allowed to say it. You have to read between the lines. He was in that house.
Got an idea or got the confidence to pull that off.
Steve, this question of a stalker, and I'm very conscious with this story of how many rumors have been circulating, and a lot of those rumors turn out to not be true. But Stephen, this discussion of the possibility she may have had a stalker, have police been able to stand that up, or not? They seem to be knocking that down.
Yeah, it seems to be knocked down. Obviously, any of that information would be new to us as well. Kaylee FaceTimed me. She didn't call or text. She FaceTimed me for literally hours, almost every.
See, she wants to say it, but she can't. Her dad already said it before, though. He said that she didn't report it. There was an incident, but she sadly didn't report it.
Every single day. And she was extremely cautious. She was very vigilant. I think that she really would have noticed something, and she would have said it to us. She wasn't, scared to get us involved in her life in any capacity.
See, she wasn't afraid to get us involved in her life in any capacity. So she told them because Steve knew. No, she didn't report it. And I think they're scared to say too much because they were getting a little bit of information. So they probably backed off. Okay, let's, mind our P's and Q's, and maybe they'll keep giving us information. But they didn't. And then they got Shannon Gray. You know what I'm saying? They got some little breadcrumbs, and I think they were pacified at this moment. So they were keeping some things to themselves. And then I think they got cut off because they did these interviews. I don't think Ellie wanted them doing any interviews. Any. Not even putting out little cues like this. And I think that's why they got cut off.
I think that she really would have noticed something, and she would have said it to us. She wasn't.
Vicky, you don't know that they didn't investigate the stalking. That might be everything that they have. If you think that everything we've seen is all they have, that's silly. That's silly.
Scared to get us involved in her life in any capacity.
Last month, when Kaylee told friends she was followed by two men, police found no pattern of stalking.
She felt like either the threat went away, or did she tell police?
Okay, so she felt like the threat went away, or did she tell police? Listen closely.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure she did not report.
Be like that.
I know you're frustrated.
She didn't report it. So he was aware of it. Look at him. He's in anguish because he wished she would have reported it versus doing what she did and taking care of it herself. Remember, they say Kaylee was in charge. She liked to be in charge. And she would, if they woke her up at 3 a.m. and said, we're going to Mexico, she'd be like, let's go. She was independent. She wanted to handle it on her own. How do we know she didn't get a protection order against this fucker? And that's why they called the police at the corner club, because she already had a protection order against him. We don't know. Vicky, they're not going to tell us everything. I mean, it's been 6-7 months and we don't know shit. He's in anguish because his daughter did not report it. Look at his face. Yeah, the sorority may have known. Who knows? Who knows? He was pissed.
So I'm pretty sure she did not report.
Like that.
I know you're frustrated with how much and how information, developments in the investigation are being shared with the public. Are they sharing anything with you that they're not sharing publicly in light of the fact that this was your sister, this was your daughter?
I'm not getting anything. They're not sharing much with me. I know that there's a separation in duties there. They do have the FBI now, so I don't know how much the individuals that I'm talking with, which are the local, are actually exercising their different jurisdictions. I think they might not know a lot because, you know, they have briefings, and if they haven't had a briefing, they probably don't know exactly what's going on.
Are they contacting you at all? Are they keeping you updated more than they are, say, on the website or with these press briefings?
Look at their heads.
To be honest, they're not. I mean, yesterday I asked about
Look
the
at her
stalker
brother.
question, and they couldn't confirm anything.
Her
and then,
brother says nope. He is adamant, no can do.
More than they are, say, on the website or with these press briefings?
To be honest, they're not. I mean, yesterday I asked about the stalker question, and they couldn't confirm anything. And then today I hear that they're reaching out to the community saying that there's a stalker involved. So I don't know what to make of that.
I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if Jane knows, but it's there. Maybe we can get her to look. For what? John says, interesting, but Bryan is not stupid enough to keep his phone on or leave a sheath. Why do you think he's so smart? Do you think that smart men creep out women and get kicked out of bars? Do you think that takes brains? I don't. I think that makes someone creepy. I think that makes someone creepy. Well, the grand jury saw everything. So that's why we don't know shit, because the grand jury saw it all. And had they put all this out there in a preliminary, can you imagine what YouTubers would have done with that? Just because someone's book smart doesn't mean they don't make mistakes. That does not mean shit. He's human, and that's what we need to think of. He might be intelligent, but intelligent people make mistakes too. No one's infallible. He's not God. Why are we putting this Bryan Kohberger on a God status that he's not going to make any fucking mistakes? That's why there's no perfect crime. Have you ever heard that saying? There's no such thing as a perfect crime. Because people get caught. They make mistakes. And if you think that this dude can fool how many FBI agents? Come on. We cannot be this foolish. We can't. We saw him in court yesterday. He's scared to death. He's a little wimp. He's a little wimpy boy who couldn't control his own rage, who had no self-control. He's like a 5th grader. Oh, Paper Chaser. He says I'm on my A game. Thank you, Paper Chaser. He is not going to be exonerated. He is no. And what's this secret room crap? You guys go so far out in left field. It's so obvious. Why does it have to be more than Bryan Kohberger? Somehow he's been there a year. Steve G says he's been there a year. He met Kaylee a year ago. She was living at 1122 King Road a year ago. He touched their Wi-Fi. We don't know his whereabouts prior to 244, but Jack was at the corner club with the girls, and someone that looks like Bryan is sitting in the corner in clad black. I mean, what more do you need? A secret room? We don't need a secret room. That back door was wide ass open. Why do we need a secret room? And I think that was him on that path that approached the sorority girls with a knife. They're not going to tell us. They have to have some things that only they and him know. They have to. You can't do it any other way.
A lot of
sorry, go ahead, Steve.
They're just so vague with everything that they say. And then
Okay, now I want you to listen to this because I think that this is where their emotions are getting the best of them. And I mean, no hate on them for that. Obviously, they're going to be emotional. And I give them tons of props for the strength that they have, that they've shown. But he's picking apart things. Now listen to his example of them being vague. Now to us, I think it makes common sense that they would be vague about this. But to someone who wants to know why and how this happened to my sister, I get his frustration. But just listen to it.
Story. It all started with a sharp-edged weapon. What was the use in telling the community that a sharp-edged weapon was used instead of just coming out and telling us that it was a knife from the beginning?
See, because there's certain things they don't want to say, right? Because before they had the perpetrator, only they and the perpetrator know what weapon was used. So if they don't say what kind of a weapon it was, it leaves that open. It's all investigation 101. We've seen this a million times, you guys. We've seen this a million times.
I don't understand the purposeness of being so vague. You're not holding the integrity of the case together by not telling anybody anything.
I understand you have frustrations for how police and investigators have handled the crime scene. What are those frustrations specifically?
Well, they expanded it, and there was volunteers that walked around, and they disclosed that they were looking and found different things. So, they did share with me that may have more to do with keeping cameras out.
Hear that? We ignore this information because we want it to be this big conspiracy. They shared with Steve that the reason they blocked off the back parking lot was to keep cameras out. We all are over here, oh my God, they're so inept. They didn't even have the crime scene taped off right. He's telling us right now. They told us that had more to do with keeping cameras out. I don't give a damn what Chris McDonough says he found. That doesn't mean shit to me. I feel like we have to believe that. I mean, we can't just believe what we want to believe, right? We can't just believe what we want to believe. We have to take it all in.
So, they did share with me that may have more to do with keeping cameras out than it actually does with evidence gathering. So I hope that is indeed the case, because it would be pretty disheartening a week later to know that they didn't have the right crime scene.
One of the mother of one of the surviving roommates, so reminding our viewers, there were two roommates who were upstairs and survived this, told a reporter that those roommates heard something that night. Have you been told? Have you heard from sharing with other?
Did you hear that? A mother of one of the surviving roommates spoke with a reporter and said that they did hear something.
Two roommates who were upstairs and survived this told a reporter that those roommates heard something that night. Have you been told? Have you heard from sharing with other relatives of the other victims what that was exactly?
No, I would say for us that we did hear those rumors, but right now we can only leave it at that. None of that has ever been confirmed to us.
We have not spoke with the roommates.
Yeah.
The surviving roommates, and they were downstairs, just to clarify that for you, sir.
Okay, downstairs, right, on a different floor from where it appears where the murders took place. One consistent thing, and granted there's been some changes, as you note, in how the police have described this. one consistent descriptor has been that the attack was targeted. Do you know if police believe one person in the house was the target of this attack, or all four?
I've been told it's one, but then again, there's the vagueness. Like, it's like purposely vague, I'm hoping, but it confuses everyone.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows what that really means, other than maybe somebody had a different kind of attack footprint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, that's...
So what I think that the two girls upstairs were the targets, and Ethan and Xana were unfortunately up and about because of DoorDash. So what do you guys think of this theory about the DoorDash driver? So now we're getting to, Xana getting a DoorDash. The car. So first, Papa Rogers said that he asked a question in the Facebook group, and he said, did the killer drive or walk, bike? Did he say walk, bike, and drive, or all three, or something, or all of the above? He didn't drive there. He's not going to drive there and park and give himself away. I feel like the DoorDash driver is the car seen, and that they're going to be able to decipher these two cars after their investigation. They're going to be able to pinpoint his car versus their car. Because remember, the one car is on King Road going back and forth, which really screams of a DoorDash driver trying to find 1122 King Road when that road comes up on your GPS as Queen Road. So you're going to drive down, you're going to turn around, and you're going to come back, and you're going to be like, where is this house? And then you might call Xana and say, hey, I'm trying to find your house. And Xana might say, I'm going to come out. I'll come outside. I'll come out front. So Xana might have ran out front to grab her food. Okay, this is what I think. This is my theory. While Xana was outside getting her food, BK made it in the back door. He left it open. He didn't know Ethan was there. BK came in the back door, went straight up to Kaylee and Maddie. That happened up there. He comes, Xana gets her food from the DoorDash. She comes in, she goes in the kitchen. Sliding glass doors open. It's cold. There's cold air coming in. Or she feels the cold air. And she goes to check the door and she says, someone here? She sets her food down and she goes to get Ethan because she's not sure if someone came in. And as she goes to get Ethan, and Ethan comes out to check, because remember, we heard Ethan was found in that living area. Remember? I think Ethan came out to check to see who was there. Confronted Bryan. Bryan killed him. That was Xana crying that Dylan heard, and I think it's going to be much more graphic than just crying. And I think that maybe Dylan at first thought it was Kaylee playing with her dog and then realized that there were people being hurt very bad. And I think she was scared. And I think that those girls called Jack for a reason. I don't think it was just drunk dial. They just left him. They had just left him at the corner club.
I feel like we just want some more. We all want to play a part in helping, and we can't play a part if we don't have any real substantial information to work from.
Yeah, I get it. You want to help. I mean, Olivia, you found...
Ooh, I mean, that's possible, Yvonne. What if Bryan did order DoorDash for Xana to get her out of the house so he could come in? What if he ordered the DoorDash to get Xana to go out so he could come in? Because you're going to be confused if you're door dashing there. It's going to say 1122 King Road. And you're going to be driving and it's not going to take you to their house because it's 1122 Queen Road. So you're going to be like, what if he ordered it to get Xana out so he could get up the stairs? Of course they have this info. I don't believe that all they have is in that PCA. That PCA is just little bits and chunks and enough to arrest him. Actually, it's more than needed to arrest him. They can arrest someone on DNA alone. They didn't even need to put Dylan's statements in there because they can arrest him for murder on his DNA being on the sheath. We don't know if they have the knife. On their warrants that they got back from Amazon, there's barcode numbers. You know what I'm saying? And we know that they got a knife from his parents' house, and they didn't say what kind it was. Do you think that that's for a reason? Yes, because it's probably the knife. So I think that Xana went out to get the DoorDash. He came in, left the door open. She felt the cold air, checked on it, said, "Is someone here?" And that was what Dylan heard. And remember, they said in the PCA that she thought it was Kaylee, and then they determined it was Xana because Xana was on her phone. They know all about the DoorDash. They subpoenaed DoorDash. They have all the records, guys. When you drop off DoorDash, you take a picture of the food. They know exactly what time you dropped it off.
Video that has been helpful in this investigation. I'm sure you do want to help. Has anyone indicated to you that if it was indeed one person targeted, was Kaylee the target? Has anybody shared that with you?
They won't confirm who that was to us.
The police, that is.
Exactly,
There's a
SR.
rumor that that's the case, but it's just a rumor at this point.
Tons and tons of rumors, but nothing from the police.
And I'll say I think a lot of those rumors do stem from all of the vagueness, and it's human nature to want answers. It's human nature to kind of put forth a theory so that you can even comprehend it in your brain.
See, and as true crime follower, Olivia gets it. She's like, the more you keep secret, the more people go out into left field. And I think that's part of their frustration too, is that she knows how this is going to unfold because she's watched it. She follows true crime.
And so I think that's how we're getting all of some of these really, really off the wall theories, and some of these theories like Kaylee had a stalker, that even we're sitting here scratching our head saying, no.
See, and that doesn't match up to what Steve said. She's saying no, and look at her brother. Steve said she didn't report it. Or she told her friends and didn't tell her family, and they were thrown when they heard that story because they thought she would tell them. And maybe she was being more independent, breaking away from, running to her family for everything because she was getting ready to go off on her own. So maybe she thought, I've got this. I can handle this. This guy's just a weirdo. He's just a fucking nerd,
It couldn't be. If it was, it would be news to us.
Yeah. I am sure it is frustrating. Your family has been very outspoken in support of Jack. He's Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. And on the Moscow police website, he is not listed, notably, as someone who has been cleared in the investigation. To your knowledge, is that significant?
No, I don't personally think so, because I think that there's the entire rest of the world that's also not on that list of people who have been cleared.
Right.
Including Maddie's boyfriend, including any associates of Xana or Ethan that might not be involved. I don't find that significant at all.
And there were a number of phone calls to him that night, and you say that would have been typical behavior for Kaylee, that she often would call friends, folks, for a whole bunch of things.
At any time, yeah. Multiple times until I would pick up at 3 a.m. and be like, Kaylee, what?
Yeah.
And some of the last footage of her at that food court, she's on her phone 24/7 filming the whole thing. So she lived on that phone. So
yeah. It sounds like you're saying that the delays here in sharing information, the delays in, well, frankly, making more progress on the investigation, mean the police have lost their best opportunity, right? I think, Olivia, you were saying that those early hours and days are key. That's when you can make real progress. Do you believe that they've missed their best chance here, or may have?
not only is that's just not a matter of opinion, that's a matter of fact. If you look statistically at homicide cases, those first 10 days are so incredibly important in finding a suspect. They determine almost 9 out of 10 times, I believe it was, if you'll find a suspect. So yeah, that's not very encouraging to hear that they want to cast this wide net of suspects now, and people we know have no involvement.
And again, here's the picture that was posted. If there was a camera in Kaylee's room, how do we know that this isn't a screenshot from BK's phone? This was posted before we knew much. This was posted before December. Nope, they sure didn't talk about who she was texting at the grub truck. It was debunked, Brookie, for real. Okay, so let's move on from that. This is a photo. Holy hell. Is this BK? Wait a minute. Let's look at this. This is a photo from that morning. Okay. The cop cars still have their lights on them. Did he stop and talk to the cops about what was going on? You guys, I'm shook. Is this him? The next morning when he was through there? Were they letting him know that when he drove through there at 9:30 in the morning, did he stop and act like he was just a passerby wondering what was going on? And is that why they put out the information that he was there the next morning and drove through? Did he stop and inquire about what they knew? Sure as fuck looks like him to me. Just saying. Jack D's walking. Look next to the Moscow police car. Look next to the Moscow police car. That's not him walking up, I don't think. That's Jack D with his pants pegged, I think. I'm talking about right here. Talking to the police. Those are Jack D's big old Nikes. That's Jack D. This right here looks like Bryan Kohberger. And they told us he was there the next morning. This is the next day. What if they're lying about when the call came in? Because they didn't want to like lead him on. What if the call really came in the morning, guys? Yeah, the white Elantra is... Yes, Mary, yes. The white Elantra is shown in this same footage. Absolutely it is. We know he came back to the scene. They told us. They told us he drove by there. They told us. And isn't it just the MO of a killer to go back to the scene of the crime and see the outcome? Let's make this smaller. Oh my gosh, I was just driving by and, I'm a criminology student. I could probably help you guys. What kind of evidence do you have? No, I don't think Brent K was involved. I don't know. I don't know about Brent K. All I know is that looks like Bryan Christopher Kohberger standing there. Going back to the crime. And you can see, they're just getting there. This doesn't look like the middle of the day to me unless it was cloudy that day, because the cops still have their lights on. He was waiting. He was watching for them to arrive. That's him. That is his freaking melon the next day. They've got this mofo wrapped up with a bow, I'm telling you. In black. It looks like a Dickies coat almost. Well, I don't have a full frontal. This is all I can give you, but that's what I think. Anyways. All right, let's go past this picture. What do we have after this? Oh, and then we have, the account of the people in the apartment next door. So let's recap. And I've got 3 more screenshots here. Hold on. I've got to get these over here. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're not done yet. So let's talk about the data. We're going to go back to the facts, okay? The data. How many terabytes of data? Here's a quiz. How many terabytes of data did they recover? And we're going to go over all the new court documents tomorrow. That's going to be tomorrow's live. Today we're talking theories and Bryan Kohberger. 52 terabytes of data. 52. Do you guys have any idea how much 52 terabytes of data is? Any idea what that would amount to? As far as how many CDs would that fill? Or DVDs would that fill? This dude knows he fucked up. He knows. He knows the evidence they have against him. And sadly, Ann Taylor does have to do certain things that he asks, even if she doesn't agree to it. Keep that in mind, too. She has to do what her client asks, to a certain degree. Even if she says, well, I don't think, this isn't a good idea for me to file this. If he wants her to file it, she's going to file it. If it's within reason. If he wants to fight the media, she's going to fight the media for him. It doesn't mean that she believes it's right or just. It's not about her. She's doing it for him. So we're going to go over what that adds up to, guys. Okay? We're going to go over that right now. Because it's important. It's so important. So here is our screenshot number 1. Hold on. Let's get rid of this. Okay, here is an example. For example, common estimates state that the average book requires about 1 megabyte to store. In late 2019, Google announced that Google Books had scanned over 40 million titles. 40 million books is 40 TB. 40 terabytes. 40 million files of books. Okay? There's first one. You tell me he didn't have a camera in their house? That's what all this fucking data's got to be. It's got to be video of him watching them. And I bet you he watched them. He probably met Kaylee in 2021. I think he'd been watching them for a long time. I really do. I think this shit goes back. All right, number 2. We mentioned earlier that a basic CD holds about 700 MB and a DVD holds roughly 4.7 GB. You'd need nearly 1,430 CDs or 213 DVDs to get 1 terabyte of storage. 1 terabyte. 213 DVDs. Think about 213 movies. A movie a day, 365 days in a year. This motherfucker had cameras in the house and he was watching them, I bet you, for a year. That's why Steve G said he was out there for a year. They knew a year because he'd been watching them for a year. Hence this data. From another angle, the U.S. Library of Congress revealed in 2009 that the U.S. Library of Congress had 74 TB of data. Congress, 74 TB. Bryan Kohberger had 51 TB of data on these people. If you don't believe he had a camera in there, you tell me what the fuck he had. That's 51 terabytes of data. That is 1 year of watching these girls live on the same floor, get dressed, do their TikToks, everything they did. Could be, DC. Could be. 51 TB. Only 20-some TB less than the U.S. Library of Congress. How long has Congress been in motion? 100 years? He had almost as much data as 100 years of Congress. What? It's crazy.
Roro causing Pawpaw. I mean, that's
Roro.
not-
Who was Roro?
What?
All right, I got one more screenshot. Let's go a little further. 1 GB holds about 230 MP3 tracks. 3 minutes of 4K video. This is why they have Dropbox too. They subpoenaed Dropbox because he was saving shit in the Dropbox. This ain't no social experiment. This is a fucking crime. This is a guy who couldn't get play and he killed 4 people. Don't dumb down their murders and their lives by saying this is a fake thing. Don't do that. That's dangerous. Don't do that. If you think it's more plausible that this is a fake thing and hidden by hundreds of agents and cops and everybody else and court people and lawyers and families and friends of families before you think that this man could do it, I don't know what to tell you. Because it doesn't make sense. You believe that more than you believe that this creepy dude did this. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. Ah!
Like, what the fuck is this? And everybody's like, what the fuck is this?
Most of today's smartphones come with between 32 GB and 512 GB of storage. However, oh wait, that's not it. Here. 3 minutes of 4K video at 30 FPS would equal 1 GB. A 3-minute video is 1 GB. He had 51 TB. John, I'm sorry. I don't agree with you. I don't think it's a cover up. I think that the university wanted to save face. Sure. I think we saw that. I think we definitely saw them suppressing the story, but not because BK didn't do it. Because they want students to come there and go to school. That's why. And I think they bought the University of Phoenix because they didn't get those students back, you guys. And they need they need a bigger online source because this is going to be a permanent mark on them, whether they like it or not. They have a permanent mark, a quadruple murder, and it's going to stick around for a while. So if they're acquiring the University of Phoenix, which is an online school, it's because they want their students to be able to go to their school and still make money. So they have an online thing that's already set up. That's why Green doesn't care about the reputation of the University of Phoenix, because they're going to rename it the University of Idaho. He's not worried about the name University of Phoenix. He wants their setup. It's already set up. They already have students going to the University of Phoenix. So they're going to go where it's already set up. All they have to do is acquire it and implement all of their UI stuff in place of University of Phoenix. They have students, and then they have a broader online education. It's actually a smart move for them because it's going to take a while for people to feel comfortable sending their kids there. Some people don't care. Some people are comfortable with it already. Some people aren't. A lot of kids didn't come back. We know this. This isn't new news. But you put it all together and it makes sense. What would they be covering up? I mean, John, what do you think they're covering up? What would they be covering up? I don't know. I don't think they're covering up shit. I think they're just not telling us everything because they don't have to, and we're not owed that. So, I don't know. The Manhattan Project, you're comparing this to like a presidential cover-up? This isn't on that level. The CIA and the FBI hiding things and being corrupt has nothing to do with Moscow police. Moscow police are not even on that level. They're so out of their element with this. It's not even funny. What we've seen is nervousness, lack of transparency because they don't know what they're doing. That's why the FBI came in. The FBI is not there because he's a patsy. It's just not. I just really don't think it is. The Kennedy assassination. You can't compare that to this. He's not. Come on. Fentanyl deaths. Okay, well, we have other fentanyl deaths and they didn't cover those up. They didn't say those people were stabbed. You think that a quadruple stabbing by a rando is less scary than a fentanyl? You think they would cover up an overdose, which would be the student's own doing if they did drugs? You think they're going to cover up something that would be the student's own doing to a rando that did other things before, skinned animals, gutted a dog, confronted these sorority students on the path? You think that that's less creepy? And they're going to tell us that versus they overdose on their own accord? No. If they overdose on their own accord, that would be the students doing, not some rando that got away with a bunch of shit. You know? No. Mm-mm. I don't believe it. I don't think it's. I guess you'll see it at court, John. I don't know when Madison lived there, but I know that Kaylee lived there in 2021. I can't say when Maddie lived there. The Uber driver didn't deliver anything, and it wasn't an Uber driver. An Uber driver supposedly drove them to the bar. A private driver named Eric Gower drove them home. We all know this. Yeah, this isn't a cover. But anyways, that's how much data this dude had. 51 terabytes. What? Okay, so if you don't think he had a camera on the girls, what was that data? What was the 51? What do you think the 51, is it just Bryan doing selfies? Was it Bryan doing selfies or? No, it's Gower. He's on Facebook. Look him up. Eric Gower. He's married to, what's her name? I can't think of her name right now. It's Eric Gower. They made a spelling mistake. So my other theory is that if he didn't have cameras on in the house, Katie Short Gower. Yeah, I know they said that. Doesn't mean it's true. Their source. We have the PCA says who it. You guys, see, this is where you're losing it, okay? You're believing a source on Dateline versus the PCA that says Eric Gower. Yeah, they just made up 51. Do you know how hard it would be to make up 51 terabytes of fake data? Come on. Not buying it. I need to smoke. I don't do this, but y'all got me stressed out. You have to go by the PCA before you go by a source on Dateline. If you don't believe the PCA, Zelda, I don't know what to say. You have to believe the PCA. They can't lie in a PCA. Mandy. All right, so let's take a look at something here. Okay, so this whole thing about the family suing the Idaho police or the Moscow police. Let's talk about this. They have put in notice. And what they're doing by doing that, they're not suing them. They didn't file anything yet. What they did was they filed notice to sue based on if something goes wrong, what they're saying is this is our little security blanket that if something goes wrong, we have someone to hold accountable. Right. He was recording it and keeping it. That's why they, ooh, was he selling things? Maybe those, I don't know. I mean, there could be a lot more. And maybe he was watching other people too. So another theory I had is if there isn't cameras in King Road or wasn't, remember the girl with the undies? I think he did that too. I think all these weird things, I think Buddy the dog was him. I think the guy on the path was him. I think a lot of these weird things, like I just got a thing from Pullman yesterday that I requested some weird incident, and now they put me off till July. They put me off till May. Then they put me off now till July. Zelda, what do you go by facts? If you don't if you don't believe the PCA, what are your facts? A source on Dateline? I mean, no disrespect, but you're telling me I don't believe the PCA, and then you're saying, see you later, Jay. I don't like theories, only facts. The only fact that you would get is from a PCA at this point, because it's all we have. So what if he did the undie girl, and then somehow bumped into her, and remember she said, I just ordered a Ring camera. How do we know? No, he's wearing no, John. He's wearing those kinds of soles in the corner club. He's got big old dad soles. He's not a cop. He was never a cop. He would never be able to be a cop. He's a pussy. Okay? He's a pussy. He's not cop material. He wanted to get in on the inside to see their technology. That's what he wanted. And he may have used people to get into things. The underwear incident was only a month before the killings. Well, he went to Marshall's, and Marshall's sells Vans shoes. No, he's German. He's German. Kohberger is German. Yeah. Oh, 51 TB. He had some kind of video. If one DVD is 1 GB, he had a lot. No, I don't think he's Jewish. Hey, devil. Oh, I'm just trying to get, it's hard because it's all over the place, but you try to pull everything together, and I try to do it the best I could. So let me play my video one more time before we sign off. Then we're going to look at the Latah County Jail for Mandy, because we might have gotten a cutie in last night. So let's watch this and see if it makes any more sense. We're going to watch it full screen, and we're going to watch it nonstop. And then I'm going to go to your questions. Okay. How do we know that he wasn't putting videos up of them and making money off it? Who knows? I don't know. There's something. He had data of them. All right. So bear with me. Let's get this up. And let's watch this and tell me if you feel any differently. I'm curious. So just give it. Daisy, you might have to replay it, because this is my mind over a long period of time. This isn't just something I put, in my head in one sitting. So it's going to take a while for you guys to absorb it because it's a lot. And I understand that. And I don't expect you to agree with me, but I just want you to just have respect and hear me out, okay? So let's watch this again. Pay attention to the body language. Pay attention to everything. Not just what they say, but what they, how they react to the questions. And I'm not going to play that whole last part, but I want you guys to watch the beginning. And then I'm going to go through your questions. So if you have any questions or comments, put them in the Q&A in the chat, and we're going to go through them together. And I'm sorry if I'm sassy. I'm not trying to be sassy. I get really passionate. I do. I get really passionate. And I think that we really have to keep in mind that these are real people. All right, here we go, guys.
She attracted attention, whether that's a dedicated person following her around, maybe not. I do believe that the officers looked in it, and I believe what they said, that there was no evidence. It's enough that he was touching their Wi-Fi. His phone was touching their Wi-Fi. It's like 9-10 miles. I mean, I'd be shocked if these guys didn't cross each other in grocery stores and just everyday life. If he was over there for a year, I'm assuming that he followed them and he may have figured out what their patterns are, and then he tries to bump into them, or he tries to hang out in those spots.
You don't think?
I mean, like, my girl's bullying him, or what kind of behavior could explain somebody being this brutal to another human being? I mean, he was probably obsessed with just their overall looks and their social media accounts and the fact that they were close. It's a huge shock that he had messed up so bad. He had read that, and I think he knew how damning it was, and he wasn't going to be able to explain a lot of that stuff very easily.
I just want to stop for a second and say, think about the PCA and what it said. To us, it looks like a bunch of mumbo-jumbo BS. Imagine being Bryan and reading that, because that's all they had to give him at that point. Imagine being Bryan and reading that and going, oh, shit. What are they talking about? The car pulling up and down. They probably do have an Elantra on there, but I think it's the DoorDash driver. And I think he's puzzled, like reading that going, what? They have it all wrong. I'm going to be exonerated, motherfucker. They got an Elantra. They have an Elantra. Turning around. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. Loyal. Hey, be loyal to the foil, guys. Become a member today. We're going to do a tinfoil hat making party in the next couple days. So be loyal to the foil and become a lounger today.
I'm sure he thinks he can, but I seen a man who looked defeated, and his body language looked like somebody in shock and dismay. So I think he knows how much he has to go against, and he's the reality of it setting in.
I know the girls reached out via texting and calling, so I can only assume that by the phones being ignored, knowing how my daughter is not going to ignore calls and texting.
TJ, that somebody at least knew the basic layout of the house. Think about how long it would take to go from victim to victim, so somebody had patience. The police have described a combat-type knife. So the person apparently went there to really do what they ended up doing. So once you've eliminated, and I assume this has happened, sort of the immediate circle, college students that are around these kids, people that may have threatened one of them, stalked them, whatever. I'm not hearing anything that supports a killer in that group. So what do you have to do if there's not an immediate connection? You have to go to sort of a wider circle. You would look at, for example, maybe or maybe not somebody older. I only suggest that because this crime appears to be very focused and the person had a comfort level in the house. This tells me that this was sort of driven by something you intrinsically wanted to do, less so than maybe one student mad at another student.
Last month, when Kaylee told friends she was followed by two men, police found no pattern of stalking.
She felt like either the threat went away, or did she tell police?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure she did not report it. The target really does bother me because no one can win in that kind of terminology. It just makes us all feel like, please don't be my child, that's the target.
Kaylee's mother has said she believes that the suspect, the killer, is someone Kaylee knew very well, and that the killer might even be at the vigil. Remarkable. I wonder, Steve, do you share that view?
It's speculation. My daughter was very popular. It seemed like everyone that I talked to said she knew everyone. They had parties. They were college kids. They were about to graduate. Yeah. So somebody could have partied in the house and got an idea or got the confidence to pull that off.
Steve, this question of a...
See, he had been in that house and they know it. They know it. Okay, let's get to your questions. I'm curious what you guys think. And no one bumped Paper Chaser out as the stream boss. Come on. Someone own it. All right. Let's go over to your questions and comments. I'm so curious. I know a lot of you guys don't agree with me. And I love that because it brings up more to discuss. Mandy Joe, why do you think they didn't get DNA from the victim's fingernails if there were defensive wounds? Or do you think defensive wounds aren't accurate per my butt? I think that Kaylee and Maddie wore fake nails. And I think that Xana and Ethan were the ones with the defensive wounds because they were the ones that were up and about. Well, I mean, Xana was. But I don't, they had the fake nails. So what if those fake nails, flipped off? And there might be something underneath the fake nails. I don't believe that they don't have other DNA. I don't believe that. I think they have way more. Do you put your pants on with your right leg or left leg first, or do you not wear pants? I don't wear pants. I wear shorts, and I actually do right leg first. Do you think that the verbiage targeted is misused in this case? No. Do you think we are going to see, and this is all Mandy, you guys can thank Mandy for the awesome questions. Do you think we are going to see a lot of quirky legalities exposed in this case since the suspect has a background in some law in Idaho? And Idaho has a lot of different judicial standards than we've seen before. Maybe. I think that we can go by the Vallow case to kind of see how this might proceed as far as being like, sealed and the thing about the cameras, being in court and stuff like that. So maybe we'll get like kind of like how the Vallow case went. Patrick Forsyth. So can I just ask a question? So can we say if we go down the route of the girls being the target, Xana and Ethan were collateral damage? I think they were awake, and I think Xana is the one that said, "Is someone here?" or "Somebody's here," something like that. And yeah, I think that he was not planning on that. I think that Xana was in her room prior to the DoorDash, and Bethany was in her room, and I don't know if maybe we don't know everything about Dylan, and I think everybody needs to shut up about it because we don't know, because remember it said she originally went to sleep in a room. We don't know where she went after that. And Steve G does say that he knows that those two girls, Bethany and Dylan, called Kaylee's phone. He knows that. And she didn't answer. Suzanne. Jay, what's your opinion about the page? I thought it was too of redaction talking about Ethan. It really bothers me. It makes me so upset. The redaction that is of his autopsy. And I guess they had to put that in there because somehow it proved that it connected BK somehow. Whatever's in Ethan's autopsy connected BK. So if Ethan fought BK, Ethan might be the one to have some kind of injuries that connects to BK. Because if anybody was going to fight BK, it was going to be Ethan. Mary P. He may have had video of himself practicing the crimes too. The iCloud data management would have allowed BK to clean up his mess. Potentially he was relying on that, but he didn't get the job. Mary P. The PCA is to communicate to the court and the defense. You got it. Scary good, but I could be biased. Mary, you're so funny. And Brooke E. Do you think there is still exculpatory evidence with Bethany? Nope. I think that's all a game. I don't know, Jammers. I feel like Jammer says, how much, if anything, do you think BK's family knew? I don't think they knew much. I don't think they knew much. His dad doesn't seem to be very concerned about his son being pulled over by the police when they got pulled over. If his dad knew anything, I would think that his dad would have showed nervousness. And I think his dad's weird. But I think his dad would have shown nervousness. Did Bryan hang around after the crimes? No, he came back the next morning. Remember, they have him driving through? And then we have that picture that looks like him. You guys want to see that picture again? Where'd it go? I just find it crazy to think that it's so far-fetched to think that he's sitting there at the corner club. And that maybe the cops had to be called on him because maybe somebody had a protective order against him because he'd been stalking them and watching them for a year, but they really didn't understand why, or the connection. I don't know. You don't think so, Brookie? I think that could be him going back and talking to the cops about what's going on. Right. We have nothing from Bethany. So whatever she has is very important. And I think he's wondering what she knows. I think that's why they were trying to get Bethany so bad, because he knows she knows more. And he wants to know what it is. I'll look into it deeper, but I think it looks like him, and I think it's plausible. And I think that the theory, I want to know, those of you that don't think he did it, what did he have? 51 terabytes of data. And I think they were going after Bethany because she has information. And I think he wanted to see what she had so he could try to break through it. Because if he doesn't know what she has, because it's not in the PCA, if he doesn't know, then he's got to find out so that he can figure out how he's going to explain things. He has to know what everybody saw. Yeah, no bartender sits in a corner 15 minutes before closing. No, they're cleaning up. They're getting ready to go home. They don't want to fucking sit there in the corner. Yep, of course they did, Lucy. Like I said earlier, the corner club is not going to say, yes, the killer was here and there was an altercation. We had to call the police on him and have him removed. And then he went home and got a knife. And then he came back to Moscow and killed the victims that he was giving a hard time at the bar. They're not going to say that. They're going to say, no, he's never been here. And we don't want to be associated with it. They don't want people coming in there going, harassing their wait staff. Did you wait on him? What happened that night? People were already calling them. YouTubers were calling the bar, asking about it. And then he made this Papa Rogers to see what people knew and to throw speculation out there because he's a sicko. He's a sicko. So anyways, you guys, I think that we got to do Latah. Sorry, Mandy. How could I forget? We've got one more thing. We're going to look at the Latah roster. Tomorrow, we're going to be going over all the new filings because that's going to take some time to read through and all of that stuff. And we've already been on here for a while. Let's see. All right, let's pull this up for Miss Mandy. This is Mandy's part of the live. She looks forward to this every day, so we can't let her down. We never want to let anybody down here, right? All right, here we go. Let's make this nice and big so y'all can read it. We've got Jeffrey Cluck, still in the clinker. Dimmick is still in the clinker. Jasmine, she's still there. John Garrett, Rachel Garrett. Oh, look at these two are related. John and Rachel Garrett. Rachel just came in there on 4:30. He's been in there since Halloween time. Nicholas Harris. We've got Stephen Caleb Henderson. Jerome Hustis. Mandy's boyfriend Joshua Hewitt. Ooh, $50,000 bond. Ugh. Yuck. And then Ricky Sly High Eagle. They got 21 prisoners, you guys. We've got Alan Thacker, Brian Shepard, Shelley Shaw, Justin Heath Olson from the Moose Lodge, Cheyenne May Moore, Bronwyn Elise, Callie Ray Massey, Alexandra Lena Linus. She's not one of the Peanuts. And then we have Bryan Kohberger and Joshua Jabeth. A lot of the same Z's in there. So, yep, the Garretts are having a little family reunion in the clinker. Yeah, they might even be related and dating. Bitch says dibs on Hewitt. I don't know. You might have to fight Mandy for him. Oh, is YouTube glitching? All right, you guys, leave your comments if you're a replay watcher. I love you for replaying and watching. Let me know your comments in the section below, or if you're replaying just because you have to absorb what I say. I know. It's a lot. It's a lot. But when I get these things in my mind, I've got to roll with them. And I appreciate you guys, hearing me out and stuff. So, hold on. All right, you guys, that's going to be it for today. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. We have a live tomorrow. We're going to be going over the court docs. And if you want to become a member, please do. We're going to be making our tinfoil hats. We're going to be making berets and all kinds of shit. So, I gotta go. Dance it out, guys. Oh, and for Cherie, it's her birthday, and anybody else who's celebrating a birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, 'cause you're awesome. Happy birthday to you.
Happiest of birthdays, Cherie, and everybody else who is celebrating a birthday. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much. Thanks, moderators. Thanks, loungers. Love you guys. Take care.
I don't give a damn. I don't really care about you and your problems. I don't give a damn. You talk way too much. I have heard enough about you and your problems. I don't give a damn.
La 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 la. Roberta.
Sexy and I know it.
And they just like me once they get that good punani.
Can't stop addicted to the shindig. You wanna be with me. You wanna feel something real, but I'm feeling differently. You're making plans to get to friends, but don't wanna face
I flashed and said, wow.
I ain't got time, I ain't got time, I ain't got time for that.
You know Dawn's full of shit.
Sleeping all day, dreaming shoes, hanging by the pool.
Give it the fallout. Oh my God. God forbid. God. Give it the fallout. Give it the fallout. Give it the fallout.
About you and your problems, I don't give a damn.
Because you're a liar.
Bryan Kohberger.
Did I ask you?
I have to say to Ann C. Taylor, the defense lawyer, bring it on, woman.